What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to NBA Talk. Taking a little bit of a break from the NBA season preview, this is an issue that I really never expected to be bringing up at this point. It's something that I never really thought I would have to talk about, but because of the severity of the issue and how complex it has gotten, I feel that it's finally time to give my thoughts and opinions on this. So last week, Chris Bosh went through a physical to determine whether or not he's able to compete for the 2016-17 NBA season. And as we know, for the past couple of years, Chris Bosh has been dealing with blood clot issues, which has become serious jeopardy to his life. And last week he took that physical test, and still the Miami Heat doctors found signs of blood clotting in his lungs, which means that now the Miami Heat doctors are ruling Chris Bosh out for the season right now until further notice. And according to Pat Riley, they are no longer going to try to bring Chris Bosh back. So this has basically led to a lot of controversy on whether or not Chris Bosh should retire or should he not retire in the NBA. So let's talk about it. Now, as you can tell based on my silence, this is an issue where I really just don't know where to begin. I don't know how to explain this to you, and how to give my opinions on this. Because Chris Bosh is a player who has been very close to me. I mean, I've been a Raptors fan for a long time. I watched Chris Bosh come into the league. I watched him be a dominant force for Toronto and then move on to Miami and join the Big Three. I watched Chris Bosh's entire career, and the fact that his career is now in jeopardy, it's very sad, man. It's very, it hurts as a fan to talk about something like this. But I guess the best place to start is how it actually went down. So we know in 2015, Chris Bosh was developed with blood clots in his lungs. They found blood clots in his lungs. And, he was basically in a life or death situation. Luckily, Chris Bosh was able to recover through blood thinners. And he missed the rest of the 2015 season, but he was able to come back for the 2016 season. He was able to compete until again in February of this year, Chris Bosh was again sidelined due to blood clots, which ended that season as well. And now that he failed the physical, he is no longer able to compete. So what this means is that this blood clotting issue has gotten so serious that now it is basically putting Chris Bosh's entire career in jeopardy. And really the main question everybody's asking is, should he retire or should he not retire? It's been documented that Chris Bosh wants to return. He does not want to end his career. However, analysts and the doctors and everyone are telling Chris Bosh that he should end his career. He should retire while he still has a chance to do it. And honestly, in my opinion, I have to side with the analysts at this point. I have to tell Chris Bosh that he needs to retire. As much as it pains me as a fan to say that, it has to be done. There is literally no other option for Chris unless he somehow magically, regains his health and gets rid of his entire condition. I don't see him returning to the NBA. And this is a big issue. So I believe Chris Bosh should retire from the NBA. Now, why? There's a couple of reasons to why I think Chris Bosh should retire from the NBA. Number one, it's his health, man. It's his future well-being. Chris Bosh is 32 years old. He has a lot to live for, man. He has 5 kids and a wife. He has an entire family he needs to support. And the fact that he wants to put his life into jeopardy, in my opinion, is very foolish. I feel that his life is important. His life is number one. Because when you're thinking about it logically, I know this entire term ball is life, but that statement is actually regarding there's two different lives. There's your basketball life, and then there's your regular daily life. Now, what's happening to Chris Bosh is now his priority is becoming his regular life. Your life is more of a priority at this point. You cannot, constantly go back to basketball when you are jeopardizing the life that you still need to live. It's a give or take. You can't have one or the other. You can't have both. You can only take one or the other. And this is why, it's, in my opinion, it's bad for Chris Bosh to return. Because in one instance, it could be one instance, if he returns in the NBA, and let's say, one misbreath, one misstep, Chris Bosh can pretty much end up dead on the floor in an NBA game. Just think about how bad that would be. Not only for Chris Bosh, the fact that he had to end his career with his life. Number two, think about Chris Bosh's family, how, this could have all been avoided and now they've lost someone, because of it. It's bad for the Miami Heat organization, because obviously a guy dropped dead on the scene. And it's bad for the NBA because, they allowed this guy to compete. In that regard, I completely agree with the doctors. I completely agree with the analysts. Chris Bosh's health is the most important thing. And if this is blood clotting is preventing him from playing, what's the point in returning? There's no point in risking your life and returning when you can save your life and live longer and live healthy. I know Chris Bosh as an athlete does not want to retire. He doesn't want to retire. As I mentioned in my Ray Allen video, no player wants to retire due to injury. No player wants to retire due to health concerns and whatnot. It's obvious. I mean, like, every player wants to end their career when they want to end their career. However, Chris Bosh is in a situation where, you have no other option at this point. It's either you end your career now or your life ends your career for you. And that's what everybody's talking about. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I think Chris Bosh should retire. It's just, there's no point. There's no point returning to the league, potentially playing another couple of seasons, but ending up shortening up your own life and risking your own well-being for the rest of your life just because you want to play more. Basketball's only a game. It's not real life. It's not your entire life. And that's why I think Chris Bosh should, retire. There's just no point in returning. Your health is the number one priority. Therefore, by retiring, Chris Bosh would be practically saving his life and giving himself a longer future, which is what he needs and which is what his family wants and which is what everybody wants. Secondly, the second reason why I think Chris Bosh should retire is that it's beneficial for the Miami Heat organization. As selfish as you might think this may be for the Miami Heat, this makes complete sense from a financial standpoint. Pat Riley is no idiot. He's no idiot. He knows that Chris Bosh is a talented player. He's really good. The Miami Heat want to keep him. They want Chris Bosh to return. They want him to play. They know how good he is. But the fact that he's not playing is not doing them any good. It's actually hurting them more because Pat Riley signed Chris Bosh to a $118 million deal. And now that money is locked up. Chris Bosh is not utilizing that money. Chris Bosh is not, earning that money. So that money is basically locked up. And now the Big Three era is over. It's over. No matter what anybody wants to say, the Big Three era is done. It's finished. That's not coming back. LeBron's not coming back. Wade's not coming back. It's over. And Bosh is potentially not going to come back at all. So what's the point? The Miami Heat need to rebuild. Pat Riley is no idiot. He knows that he needs to rebuild. But he also knows he needs money to do it. He needs money to get free agents. That's one of the biggest reasons why he wasn't able to re-sign Wade to the money he wanted. That's one of the reasons why he wasn't able to get big free agents like Kevin Durant. because he doesn't have money to do it. Because all his money is locked up in the possibility of Chris Bosh returning. But if Chris Bosh retires, it fixes the entire issue. Chris Bosh's salary will be waived out of the books. Miami will get so much cap room that next offseason, where there's a lot of free agents such as Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, and just to name a few, they're all up on the open market. Miami can make moves. They can make moves to rebuild this team properly. But if Chris Bosh stays in the league, that money's locked up. And that money is just, you're not making use of that money. And that's why it's hurting the team, because the team can't move on. The team can't get rid of the stench of the big three without getting rid of the remainder of the big three, which is Chris Bosh. They don't want to get rid of Chris Bosh, but this is probably the best scenario for Miami. This is the best solution for them. If they want to rebuild this team, they need to get rid of Chris Bosh. And trading him isn't an option. No team is going to want to take a guy whose life is in jeopardy. Nobody wants to take him. So that's trading him out of the question. All it really takes is Chris Bosh to retire from the league so that both Miami and Chris Bosh can end their relationship on good terms. Bosh can live his life successfully, and Miami can finally start to rebuild this team. Which is why I think Chris Bosh is one of the best things for Chris Bosh to do at this point is to retire. It not only benefits him to giving him a longer life, giving him a more happier life, a safer life, but it also, helps the Miami Heat organization as they can now finally rebuild and finally, move on from the Big Three era. So there you have it. Those are the reasons why I think Chris Bosh should retire from the NBA. Now, let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think Chris Bosh should retire? Or do you think that he should return to the NBA? Let me know in the comment section down below. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to this channel. We are still continuing on with the NBA season preview. We have still a bunch of more questions to answer, and the season is only 1 month away. Literally, the preseason is right around the corner, and then here we are, we're getting into the NBA season grind. So definitely stay tuned for more content on the NBA season preview. We will be getting onto that shortly. And yeah, so subscribe so you don't miss that. And as always, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode of NBA Talk. Thank you so much for watching.